Welcome back to another episode of the Miami Heat Chronicles. My name is Amir, joined today by Martel. You can find Martel at the Miami Heat Zone podcast. Before we get started on today's episode, make sure to subscribe to both our channels. I'm on my path to 2,000 subscribers, and Martel is on his path to 5,000. So thank you so much. So, Martel, I want to talk to you about a report that came out. Jake Fisher from Yahoo said that the Miami Heat currently are not looking to trade Tyler Herro. My question to you is, are we actually not willing to trade Tyler Herro or trying to trade Herro, or does he have no market value and nobody wants him? What is it
Nobody
right
nobody really wants him. I mean, think about it. If you have a 24-year-old that only played 42 games, once again, these injuries are not his fault, but you expect these young guys, especially at that age, to play. I think that the Miami Heat and especially the fans, they have a lot of unrealistic expectations for Tyler Herro because isn't he going into his sixth year? So you are who you are. Once you start getting into year seven, year 6 and 7, you are who you are. He's not all of a sudden going to get these crazy leaping abilities or be super quick or be super built. All we can expect for Tyler Herro is to be a consistent player with the Miami Heat. What I mean by that is if you're a 20 point per game scorer, I need to see that translate within the offense. Can he be fluid within Jimmy, Bam, and Terry? That's it. I need him to be able to hit timely shots. And when he sees it that the Miami Heat are stuck in terms of their offensive production and their stagnant offense, that's where Tyler Herro comes in. Because the thing is, if Tyler Herro was just phenomenal on the offensive end, we really wouldn't worry about his defensive issues. But unfortunately, I don't think he's really consistent enough with our core. Because I know that Tyler even said it. Well, why is he why is he the only one that has to change? Listen, we have Bam Adebayo, who's an Olympian, multiple time All Star. Jimmy Butler is one of the best two-way players in the NBA. Now it's his turn to find his role.
Yeah, and his role is to be an efficient scorer and shooter for the Miami Heat, and that's been his issue at times. I'm not going to say he's a shot chucker, that he's a horrible player, and he's always inefficient or inconsistent, because consistency is also a problem where he will have a 25-point game and then you'll follow it up with a 12-point game. And then you have a 17-point game, and then a 22 and 13, and then it always averages to roughly 20 points per game, which is totally fine. Tyler Herro is one of our best scorers. He's one of our best offensive options. He's one of our smoothest scorers. Yes, he does need to get a screen from Bam Adebayo quite often to get downhill, but he still is capable of getting to the rack. Like, he technically is one of our better three level scorers. But we also have a better three level scorer that we added to this team in Terry Rozier. The issue with Terry Rozier, though, last season was his ability to finish at the rim. He's small, and for some reason, he just couldn't get it going for the first 15 games with the Miami Heat until he actually had a really good streak where his field goal percentage went up, his 3-point shot was going crazy. So those two need to figure out a way to score as a tandem. And I'm not going to say that they're going to become like Steph Curry and Clay, where you can't have two good scoring combo guards or just guards in general that both aren't really point guards. Because Steph Curry, yes, he's a point guard, but he's not a traditional point guard. Like, he's Damian Lillard, he's like Trae Young. Like, those guys can get you 40 points on any given night, right? Like, of course, and they're so good, they still can get you those 7 assists, 8 assists per game, but they are scoring guards. And that's what we have. And so we need those guys to figure out how to coexist and play off each other, like also even a DeJounte and Trae last season, right? Or a Steph and Clay, not last year, obviously, because Clay has fallen out of his prime due to injuries, but they need to coexist. And Tyler needs to be more efficient and consistent. He can't take 20 shots and score 20 points. We need him to take 12 shots per game, shoot at a higher clip than 44%, which is not horrible, but not great. He's a better 3-point shooter than he is a 2-point shooter. 44% is not great. We need you to get that up to 47%, 48% from the field. Stop getting blocked at the rim. Like, you're doing a good job of getting to the rim. You just got to finish and hit your three. He shot 39% from three. Like, he just needs to play within the role. Like, he can't think he's a superstar on this team, and we can't expect him to be that superstar because it doesn't fit well. And it's not his fault that he doesn't fit well with Bam and Jimmy as one of the big three. That's not his fault, right? He's the third guy always gets blamed, but he is the person that's the scapegoat because he's the most expensible between those two. Because Bam is our most important player, our all-star, our Olympian, like you mentioned. And then also Jimmy's still our best player until he's not. I don't care what people say. Yes, we still had Tyler. Yes, we still had Bam in the playoffs against the Celtics in the first round. Yes, we were missing Rozier. Duncan was compromised and Jimmy was out. But you saw that Tyler and Bam were not good enough to compete against that Boston Celtics team. The only game they won is when the Heat shot like 53 pointers, right? And as a team and stole that game. So Jimmy is still our best player. Bam's our most important player. But Tyler is our most important scorer, and we need him to be efficient and consistent next season. Martel, last thing for you. Do you think, though, if the Miami Heat don't get off to a good start at some point next season, the Heat are going to be willing to trade Tyler Herro, assuming we're not going to trade Jimmy Butler and let him make that decision at the end of the season, whether he's going to pick up his final option, his player option? Do you think we're going to try to trade Tyler Herro eventually for pennies on the dollar? Let's say we get two guys who are just role players, not even the best type of role players, but just anybody. What are your thoughts on that?
That's what it's gonna have to be. It's kind of like what I said like in the beginning of the episode is that we have to lower our expectations about Tyler Hero. Listen, we all want him to come off the bench. We've seen him. That's his best year, like with him coming off the bench. But it's just he has to also get to the free throw line. I think that will also help his game a lot. There's no reason why he's a really good, free throw shooter and he's not getting to the line. It doesn't make sense you go to the rim every time and get blocked. Get to the free throw line because that's going to add more points to your average. But in terms of trying to get role players for him, that's what it's going to have to be. I mean, the Miami Heat really do not have a way to just trade him. No team is just going to willingly going to take his contract, especially like I said with his injury history. We are running it back. It is what it is. This is the season where we got to try to make it work. I know that we say this every year, but when are we going to actually get this to work? And now we're adding Terry Rozier to the mix. Duncan Robinson should be coming back healthy. So there's a lot of things that we really have to look at this overall Miami Heat team. Jaime, Haywood, Jovic, Khalil Ware. It's going to be very interesting going into this training camp. How does Eric Spoelstra really have his rotation looking like?
Yeah, man, I agree. It's gonna be an interesting offseason. It's gonna be a long one because we still have plenty of time left and we have no salary space to add any free agents. So if there's going to be any changes, it has to be through trade, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. So if we are going to run it back, Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra need to figure this out next season. And more importantly, outside of Tyler Herro and his offensive ability, we just need our teams to be available basically and be healthy. That's the biggest thing because Tyler Herro hasn't played more than 67 games in a single season in his career. He's only 24 years old. The best he's done is missed 15 games. Like, that's unacceptable. We need you to be playing 70 games, 12 games. That's fine. Get to the 70 mark, and that will give you the ability to get more rhythm throughout the season and get hot and improve your scoring ability for this team. So let's just pray for health, and we're going to run it back as usual. But anyway, that's all we have for today's episode. Thank you again for watching. Again, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Team to Beat Miami Heat, and then also Martel's The Miami Heat Zone podcast.